Great peace, great awakening. Assalamu alaikum. All right, this book is about business jargon. Here's the front cover. Here's the back cover. And we're doing this video in light of what's happening in Palestine, if you want to call that, or if you want to call it minor Turkey, or if you want to call it Israel. This is in light of the siege that's taking place over there right now between the two cultures, the two nations, the two countries. Israel stealing land from the people who were there first, who are known as Assyrians or Palestinians. This is just a couple days after the FEMA alert that took place on through the satellites, the telecommunication devices. And we have a presidential election coming up in 2024. And like all this jargon, this wordage, we see this every day through politicians. And as you just saw on the page, free agents, whether you be in football, basketball, baseball, hockey, any sport. You see all of this wordage. You see all of this broadcasted before you. You see it throughout the hype that takes place before president takes office. You know, auditor's report, ear candy, assistant administrative. You see this on jobs. All right, you see this right after they take office and do their inaugural ball. So you have a president that's the top executive of an office. She tells, after she tells the Navy, the Army, the Marines, the National Guard, the Peace Corps. He tells all these people what to do. All right. And you can see right here, it says accommodation invoicing. He's in charge of that as well. You see that word right there, Biden. That's not a coincidence. Nothing happens by favor. Everything is nepotism. All right. Demographics. So you can see they come to your home every 10 years, every 10 years or so. They ask you who is in there, what's your occupation. All right. They ask you what you identify as. They take note of a census. They delegate, if you will. Here's a word, noun proposition, folky, a person given to the use of a popular expression. Business people tend to carry this off better than politicians. No one doubts that Sam Walton of Walmart, America's richest man, likes the pickup trucks he tools around in. During the 1988 presidential election, George Bush attempted to affect populist roots with mixed results. Asked at a truck stop if he would care for some coffee. Bush replied, yes, but just a splash. So they reference Bush in something that is told it as being folky. So if none of this is by chance, and we're in the matrix and we're seeing things in front of us. We can't necessarily put our hands on it, whether we take the blue pill or the red pill, whether we be awake or not be awake. What are we actually living for? What are we actually getting up to clock in and go to jobs? Why are we having children? Why are we living to old age when the moral thing would be to do is to help someone around you, even if that means laying your life on the line? And we see this every day. People being taken advantage of. We see it in the news. The news in America is not necessarily to give good trends, but to give bad trends. So a person will look at the news, see a person got stabbed, or see a person got beat, see a person got tortured, see a person got shot, and 15 minutes after watching this broadcast or this telecommunication, what do? They pick up a cigarette, they pick up a drink, they call somebody, or they fix their dinner or their lunch or their breakfast. All right, so this is what we're dealing with. All right, large implications. Excuse my language. English is not my first language. All right. Now this is interesting right here. Leveraged buyout, a corporate takeover in which all or most of the target's cash and assets are used to finance its own takeover by another firm. So we see this in leagues. We see this in professional leagues where we have buyouts. You know, if you're a big basketball fan, you used to hear about buyouts in the early 2000s. Right before they start making super teams. All right. So, and this is ironic right here. You have loyalty right below loss. Loss, noun proposition. The second coming of miscalculation. Loyalty, noun proposition. Faith in the supreme company based on its supposed resemblance to a kind uncle. All right. And we know what Chinese say, traditional Chinese, in their adage about family, particularly adolescents. You know, what do they say? When you lose a mother or you lose a father, the uncle becomes distant. That's to say, if you have a son, daughter, nephew, niece, somewhere along those lines. There's also a traditional adage saying that, you know, families are like branches on trees, they grow apart. All right. So this information right here is very crucial. Look up books about business jargon, business idioms. That's something you want to know if you're looking for that big cash out. You know, you're looking for that bag. You want to necessarily know these things. Off balance sheet financing. You want to know this stuff. All right. So during the times when the silent generation was running things, and if you someone who deals with esotericism, you will know that some of them are still around, because even though 100 is old, 130 is old, doesn't mean that a person can't live beyond that. And obviously we have people on this earth, if we have companies still running 30 years plus, family owned, countries beyond, you will know that families, ancient families, traditional silent generation, traditional generations, they're still around. Renaissance generations, they're still around running things. You just don't see them. All right. Purview. A person whose wealth is of recent vintage and who does not exhibit the good taste that would naturally come to you in a similar position. So we're talking about someone who's independent thinker, someone who's not competing, someone who is studied with himself, someone who knows knowledge, someone who knows things. All right. And performance. So you have purview and performance. So if that be the case, it only makes sense to have appraisal be compounded with a word. All right. Power, meekness, and others. And this is on a short video I made about a book that came from Britain, the United Kingdom, about to come or to, to con is to come, or to come is to con. So if you're dealing with sense in others, where you give a certain wave off of energy where a person is accepting or not accepting, you're giving them your meekness, but you're also empowering them. So it doesn't necessarily make it right and doesn't necessarily make it wrong, if you're aware of that. So now this information here is very powerful. So you got a little French mixed in there. All right. So here's the title of the book, Business Babble. Get this book if you can. So I'll leave off on this. Activist shareholder, a raider. All right. So when you think of the raider, you're thinking about somebody that went west. Again, nothing is assumed, but everything is presumed. Peace.